All right, we're back with the 2005 Honda CRF250r. This is the $8,000 bike. So this is not my bike, but I'm working on it for a guy for free. He dropped it off. He was a subscriber. This is probably 2 months ago now. Dropped it off, and he said he rebuilt the whole thing, but could not get it running. So he went through the bottom end, he went through the top end, put new rings on the piston, and he said he just could not get this thing to run. So we found out why it didn't have spark, and we actually got this thing to fire up for the first time, but it had a slight problem. It was still smoking. So we tore it back down, and now he ordered up a brand new piston, brand new cylinder. So we've got the Cylinder Works cylinder in here. We've got the Vertex gasket kit, top end. And then we've got the Vertex piston in here. To check that out later. Vinny's very curious about it. So he spent quite a bit on this kit, and then he bought a brand new head for it. So he went with the Fast Heads. Seems to be a pretty reputable company. Check this beauty out. So you've got the Kibble White exhaust valves, and you've got the Del West intake valves. So those are the black diamond Kibble White. This thing was ported, polished, you can see in there. So they did all the work for the porting and the polishing. Everything looks really good. You can see the surfaces are perfectly flat. Everything looks great. All new springs, all new hardware. Everything is perfect on this thing. So we should not have a problem with anything. You can see Fast Heads. And his total came to, I think it was around 1,300 bucks for the head. Right here for the head. So job total, $1,313. So pretty expensive. So he's got about $2,000 more into this thing. So we're a grand total of $10,000 into this bike so far. So hopefully we can get it back together and she won't smoke for the guy. Otherwise he's gonna be sticking more money into it. But now he has every single part on this bike pretty much brand new. And then check out the clutch. We've got the new Hinson clutch basket we're gonna be installing as well. So we can install that bad boy as well. So that was another, I think $400 or something like that. So he's got quite a bit of money into this thing. He hasn't ridden it yet, and I think he's dying to get this thing done and ride it this spring. I don't blame him. Having this much money and time wrapped up into it, I think he's really excited for the first start and first ride. I think Vinny is too, aren't you? So, without further ado, let's get going on this thing. See if we can get this thing to ride and run today. Should be exciting. All right, so we just cleaned off the gasket surface here. And we were just checking out the crank shaft, making sure that's nice and tight. It's perfect. A little side-to-side movement, but no up and down, so that is good to go. And then we replaced the timing chain with a brand new one last video, so that's all set to go. So let's get the piston measured, that ring gap measured, and then we can start getting this top end put together here. All right, here's the Cylinder Works cylinder. Thing looks absolutely immaculate. Looks really nice. This is just the standard bore. So you can see Cylinder Works stamped right here on it. And here is the Vertex piston. You can see standard bore. So a couple stickers came with it. And then the installation instructions. It comes in like a little mesh bag here. Plastic mesh. That's interesting. All right, there's the hardware. Here's the piston. Nice and shiny. Here are the rings. Alright, let's open up the rings. Vinny's checking things out. It's like you better check that ring gap. Right. What do you want, buddy? He's double checking everything I do. First I thought it was only one oil ring there. They're just stuck together a little bit. There we go. So we'll take a measurement on the ring gap here. First we'll do the piston. So we just want to see if the piston fits in there, and how much clearance there is. That feels pretty good. Alright, let's stick the ring in there. It's going to go this way. See what this ring gap is at. Oh, that's a nice tight ring gap there. Alright, so ring gap is 0.011 inches. That's nice and tight. So we're going to be good to go there. Alright, so for this piston, and pretty much every piston out there, they come with rings with a little, either a number or a letter on it. These are going to be facing up on the piston. Don't face them down, otherwise your bike's not going to run correctly. So the oil rings don't have the number, so it doesn't matter which way you put those in. And then on the piston, the arrow points towards the exhaust side. Lube up all the rings, and you want the ring gaps to be staggered on these. So you can see a ring gap right here. You want to twist that a little bit, because there's another one right there, and another one right, where's the other one here? Right, somewhere over here, right there. So you want them all staggered. If you have them all on top of each other, it can smoke. And you don't want that. So make sure all the oil gets in between the rings here. Then we'll spin around the rings and make sure everything's lubed up properly before installing. You do not want your rings to get stuck to the piston and bind up on the first start. You want to lube up in here. On top of the piston, I do just pretty much coat the whole thing in oil. Better safe than sorry. Alright, that should be pretty good. What is he doing? He's like my supervisor now. So these are really nice base gaskets. Let's see, super thick. So let's get that installed. Alright. Alright, then we can get our other circlip in and we're gonna be good to go. Then we just have to get the cylinder on. Alright, time to get the cylinder on. There's not a whole lot of room to work in here, so we'll just have to take it slow and make sure all the rings are good. It's a tight fit. Working on the CRFs. Everything's lubed up in the cylinder. Let's get this on here. Get our cam chain through. At least there's only one ring to get by. Alright, piston and cylinder are on. We made sure that the piston's moving freely up and down. You want to make sure you do that before you move on, just so that you know the piston's not binding in there. Alright, time for the head gasket to go on. Alright, so the guide is going in. Make sure that locks in there like that. And the head gasket going in. Head gasket can only go one way, so you can't really mess it up. Gotta get both guides through there and the cam chain. Alright, then we have to get the head on next. Alright, head is going on. We had to put in an exhaust stud and then a cap, and that's it. So, alright, let's fish up this cam chain. All right, we've got 4 cylinder nuts we have to torque down. 1, 2, 3, and 4 back here. So these are going to be torqued to 29 foot-pounds. Got the torque wrench out. We're going in a crisscross pattern here. Got it set to 29 already. On that side, come over here. This one. This one in here. right, those are all perfect. All right, next is to get the cam installed. We want to be at top dead center. You can see the little divot right there. Lines up with the arrow right there. Then on the other side, we can see the flywheel has a little notch in it. Right there, you can see that lines up with the notch right there. So we are perfectly on top dead center. All right, so when you're at top dead center, these lobes are pointing towards the intake side of the bike here. And that's what it should look like. The intake right now are set to 0.005 inches, and the specs for these are 0.004 to 0.006. So I set them right in the middle at 0.005. The exhaust valves are supposed to be 0.008 to 0.011. We set them at 0.009. So those are all perfect. You can see timing is spot on. Little notch right here, notch right there, parallel to the surface of the head, and then down here, the mark lines up, and then on the other side, it lines up as well. I spun the engine over a couple times, and it's all smooth, and sounds really good. So that is all set to go. I'm going to put the rest of the bike back together. It's just a cover right here for the valve cover. Get the clutch cable hooked up, the pipe on, and then we can start installing this clutch, because the kickstart doesn't work unless the clutch is in there. Getting these coolant lines on. New coolant lines with the Boyson cover here, looks like. All right. Down to here. Using an NGK iridium plug here, CR8EIX. You don't want to drop it in because it could bend the spark plug. For the pipe, here's the crush washer for it. That goes right in there. And then we've got the header pipe that goes in. get some lock washers for those. Lock washer up here. One down here. Put that on after. Here. All right, let's get our clutch on. So we've got the clutch collar right here that goes on. And then we've got the bearing, needle bearing. We're just gonna oil all these up right away. That goes on there like that. And after that, we've got the Boyson clutch basket. It's gonna go on like this. Like that. Alright, then it looks like we've got this big washer that goes on. And then we have the clutch center basket here, like that. And we've got this washer like that. And another one like this. Got the nut that goes on, and we'll torque that down. And then we'll just put the clutch plate on. All of these are oiled up. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on the basket here, the inner basket. Hasn't been in oil for a while. Another friction plate here. And we'll just continue that process all the way down until we run out of plates. These are all brand new. And there's a smooth side with rounded corners and then a flat side. I always put the flat side towards the back of the clutch like that. All right, we've got this guy in there. Now we can get the clutch pressure plate on here. We've got all brand new springs here. 5 of them. sure they're all nice and tight. Alright, let's see if the clutch is working now. See it moving in and out. Just a little grease around the whole thing. So that we can take this back off if we have to. Alright, so this goes on, I believe, like that. We've got the cover. All right, clutch is installed. Now the kickstart should work. Oh, that's got a ton of compression. All right, this thing was missing the grips on both sides, so let's add some new grips to it. I know, racing, is it? So let's get these on. A little lube on there. And then the other one. All right, we already did the engine oil change when we first tried to work on this thing, so that's all good to go. On the other side of the bike, we're gonna be using this transmission oil, 80 weight, 85 weight. Racing transmission oil. So this thing calls for 0.7 liters, so that's what we're gonna put in. Well, who thinks it's gonna start up here? After the oil change, we just put the gas tank on, some fresh fuel, give it a couple kicks and see if she'll fire up here. Then we may have to adjust the valves once those valves seat all the way. It's brand new valves, brand new head, so they might move a little bit once we get this thing warmed up. We'll see. And you can check it if you want to. I put the exact mount in right with the bolt down here. You take that out, put this on a stand, and if oil comes out of that bolt right here, when you take it out, that means you're all set to go. All right, now we just gotta get some cooling in there. We're gonna be set. Oop, she's puking out. smoke at all. Idling perfectly. No ticking. Alright, this thing's all set. We have to get the plastics back on, bolted up, seat back on, and this thing's pretty much done. Not a single leak anywhere. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. We might have to play around with that electron carb a little bit more, but we got it to idle. Alright, this thing's looking pretty sweet. We just need the seat cover stapled up. He's gonna do that himself though, so I think we're ready for the first test drive. We've had this thing for like 3 months, so let's see if she moves. Alright, gonna take this thing for a nice easy braking ride, just to see if the carb's working. Alright, we'll choke her. The gas is on now. Alright. Let's see if she shifts here. Let her warm up for a little bit here. Alright. Alright, we're moving. First time on this bike. Just gonna take her easy. My butt's going right into a zip tie. That's fun. Clutch is working nice. There's the van. Nice easy braking ride. Nothing too crazy. He'll be really excited for it. So far it's running really good. I'm not gonna go crazy on it. It's not my bike. The Electron carb's working pretty good. Revs out nice. This thing's super responsive. Vinny almost gets hit. Alright, then we're gonna let it cool down here. And take it for the next braking ride. Alright, first braking ride. This thing moves pretty good. Clutch is working. Everything's working like it should, so thing is ready to rock and roll. No leaking from anywhere. No oil leaks. No coolant leaks. No overheating. So yeah, everything is looking good so far. We're gonna let this thing cool down to the touch, come back and do a second braking ride. Second braking ride. Turn the gas to on. We probably don't need to choke it. So far, so good. Running perfectly, just doesn't like to idle. Not too bad. Alright, well, this bike is pretty much done. I'm gonna do a little fine tuning to the car after I get it to idle. This thing was a big success. It helped having all new parts. But yeah, it runs great, drives great, doesn't leak anything. So I'd say it's good to go. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for the next video. And until next time, we are out.